Welcome to The Explainer. Our goal here is simple: to break down big, complex ideas into insights you can actually use.
So let's just get right to it. Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger. These guys are legends, right? But what's their real secret? How have they managed to stay at the top of their game for so long? Especially with markets getting crazier every year. Is it just that they're geniuses and, the rest of us aren't?
Well, you might be surprised to hear that. According to Buffett himself, it's not that complicated at all. He says the real key isn't some secret formula or being the smartest person in the room. Nope. It all comes down to having the right mindset. It's all about how you think.
All right, so let's start right at the foundation of this whole thing, the investor's mindset. This is the base of the pyramid, and honestly, it's the most important part. It has way more to do with your temperament, your character, than any fancy degree you could hang on the wall.
Okay, so pillar number one of this mindset is all about emotional control. You've heard this quote before, right? The market is like this giant, crazy pendulum swinging back and forth between total panic and wild euphoria. Your job isn't to guess where it's swinging next. Your job is to stand still, to be that calm center in the middle of a hurricane.
And this quote right here, it just hits the nail on the head. We all had this idea that investing is some kind of rocket science, that you have to be a genius to succeed. But Buffett and Munger, they just keep repeating, it's not about being super smart, it's about being super disciplined. It's having the patience to stick with your principles when everything inside you is screaming to do the opposite. In their world, temperament crushes raw intelligence every single time.
Okay, so once you've got that mindset locked in, how do you actually apply it? Let's move up the pyramid and talk about how they find those wonderful businesses in the first place. So Buffett and Munger use this brilliant metaphor. They picture a great business as a castle. And what does every great castle need? A big, wide moat around it. That's what they call an economic moat. It's some kind of durable, long-lasting, competitive advantage that protects the castle, the business, from being attacked by competitors.
So what are these moats actually made of? Well, they can come from a few different things. Maybe you're the company that can make things cheaper than anyone else. Or maybe you have a brand that is just so powerful, think Coca-Cola. It could be a massive advantage of scale or even a technological edge. Whatever it is, the point is, it makes that castle really hard for anyone else to get to.
But, and this is absolutely crucial, they have one guiding principle. Stay inside what they call your circle of competence. For decades, Buffett famously stayed away from tech stocks. Why? Not because he thought they were bad businesses, but because he just didn't feel like he understood them. And that makes perfect sense, right? How can you possibly figure out how strong a castle's moat is if you don't even understand what's going on inside the castle wall?
All right, so let's say you've done it. You've found a wonderful business, it's got a great moat, and you actually understand it. Awesome! Now comes the next big challenge: understanding the huge difference between price and value.
This is a lesson they learned from their mentor, the legendary Ben Graham. Think about it this way. Price is just what you pay. It's the number you see on the screen, and it's often driven by the market's mood swings, fear and greed. But value is what you get. It's what the business is actually truly worth based on its fundamentals. And the secret is to never, ever confuse those two things.
And this idea led to a massive shift in how they invested. See, early in his career, Buffett was all about what he called cigar butt investing. He'd look for these terrible companies that were trading for super cheap just to get one last little puff of profit out of them. But over time, thanks to Munger, he realized that's a tough way to live. It's way better to buy a truly wonderful company at a fair price than a just okay company at a wonderful price.
And this all ties into maybe the most important concept of all, the margin of safety. Here's how it works. First, you do the hard work of figuring out what a business is really worth, its intrinsic value. Then, you wait. You wait until you can buy it for way less than that number. That gap between what it's worth and what you paid, that's your margin of safety. It's your safety net. It's the buffer that protects you if you made a mistake or if just, bad luck strikes.
Investing is a lot like life. It's just as much about what you avoid doing as it is about what you do. So let's talk about the big pitfalls, the things that Buffett and Munger say are the great destroyers of wealth. So they have 3 big rules for what to avoid. Number 1, avoid complexity. If you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, you probably shouldn't own it. Number 2, avoid the herd. The market is there to serve you, not to tell you what to think. And number 3, the one they are most passionate about, avoid leverage, avoid debt.
And man, they are absolutely relentless on this point about leverage. Using borrowed money might seem smart when things are going up, but it introduces a risk you just can't control. It's the one thing that can take a brilliant person with a great idea and wipe them out completely. One bad market swing and poof, you're gone. For them, being able to play the game tomorrow is more important than maximizing your returns today.
Now, this next one, this is where they really swim against the current. We're all taught to diversify, right? Well, Munger says that for a knowing investor, diversification is diversification. They see it as a protection against ignorance. Their logic is, look, if you've really done your homework and you've found, say, 5 to 10 amazing businesses, why on earth would you dilute those incredible ideas by buying your 50th best idea? It makes no sense. They believe in putting big money on your best, highest conviction ideas.
Okay, so we've climbed this pyramid of wisdom together. We've talked about mindset, moats, and margin of safety. So what does this all mean for you? Let's boil this all down into some practical, actionable takeaways you can actually use.
Because that's the whole point, right? This isn't just some abstract theory for billionaires. These are principles and tools that anyone, and I mean anyone, can start using to think more clearly and build a stronger foundation, starting right now. All right, so here's your playbook. 4 simple rules. First, and most importantly, invest in yourself. Your own mind is your greatest asset, period. Second, read. Read everything. Become what Munger calls a learning machine. Third, know your limits. Be honest about what you know and what you don't, and stay firmly inside that circle of competence. And finally, number 4, think long-term. Make rational, well-thought-out decisions, and then just be patient. Don't let the day-to-day noise of the market freak you out. And in the end, it really all comes back to this one single idea. The best investment you can ever make is in yourself. Because all the wonderful businesses in the world won't do you any good if you don't have the temperament and the wisdom to own them. It all starts with you. So I'll leave you with this question. What's one thing you can do this week, just one small thing, to make that best investment in yourself?